I don't think I can hear you.
Is somebody talking now?
I don't think there is anyone talking. Nick, I can tell you're talking, but I cannot hear you.
Okay, somebody say something.
Hi, Nick. It's Allison.
Oh,
Was Zoom fighting you also?
no.
Oh,
Yes.
I was like, I cannot get on to intro Nick. Can everyone else hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear
Yes.
you guys. I thought it
Yeah.
was just me.
I'm so glad it wasn't just me because I was like, oh no. So now that we're all here, Nick is one of our agents out of Eugene who is a top producer. He began in PC coaching and in 2023 was a top producer. And he's an active buying and selling agent in the Eugene area. And he's going to be teaching class today. Did I miss anything, Nick, you want me to share with the group?
No, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you just go ahead and get started. I'll take some attendance and then jump off.
Okay, cool.
I'm glad we all made it.
Okay, I'm gonna try and put my headphones on. Tell me if you can hear me.
We can't hear you.
All right, that's how we're doing it today then. Anyways, all right. Thank you for the intro. Like Allison said, my name is Nick West. I started KW like February 2020, which was like a really cool time because if you remember, it was pandemic things started. So I literally got here. We were here for like about 2 weeks, and then it was like, bye, go home. Since then, I've done ALC, and I like yeah, like Allison said, I've kind of became a top producer here. Um, and I this is one of my favorite classes to teach because this is actually stuff that I still utilize to this day. Um, and as far as like today's class, so there's a lot of talking and a lot of reading, right? Uh, Sometimes I get carried away and I'll just keep going. So feel free to like jump in if anybody has to or anything like that, or you have a question, okay? Because like I'd rather you ask the question then versus me getting finally done and then forgetting where we were at, like losing train of thought. Um, okay, just so I know everybody really quick, if you can you like unmute if you can and just introduce yourself so I like know who I'm talking to and tell me where you're from, what market center?
I'm Sophie and I'm in Klamath Falls, Oregon.
Cool. Hi.
Hi.
I'm Song from Sunset Corridor.
Sweet. Hello.
Hi.
I'm Alexandra. I'm at Sunset Corridor, but I do like West Portland out to Tillamook.
Cool. Sweet. Ray.
Oh, hey, Nick. I
Hey.
work where you work,
Hey,
Eugene.
okay. Hello.
There we go.
Good
Hey.
to see you. Okay. Anyways, yeah, I'm from Eugene. That didn't get brought up either. Anyway, so I'm not sure if you guys are have a booklet that you're actually following along with right now, or if you're going that route or just doing through the PowerPoints. But I'm going to now pull up a keynote and share my screen. You can tell I'm super techie. The embarrassing thing about it is I actually like before being in real estate, I was in tech. But then the second that was done, I like stopped paying attention to anything and don't know what computers do anymore. Anyways, okay, so here we are. We're doing follow-up with leads today. It's like last time you guys did keep every lead. Next one, strengthen. On today's agenda, what we're going to cover is learning what lead conversion is, how to convert a lead to an appointment, and then we're going to talk about improving our conversion rate. We'll go over the recap or whatever. And then we can come up with a plan to implement it in your own system. If we also have time, feel free, we'll do like a Q&A. And then if you guys are interested, we can also talk about smart plans, which is another good way to keep in contact. We'll kind of dive deeper in more than what's in the class. All right. Lead conversion. Lead conversion is an essential part of the lead follow-up process. Often people assume that lead generation and lead conversion are the same, but that's not the case. At its core, lead generation is when you turn activities like prospecting and marketing into leads, and then lead conversion is what happens after you got that lead. It's part of the follow-up process, right? It's unique because these are the activities that turn leads into an appointment with the end goal of actually having a transaction. Make sense? Here's a quote from Gary Keller: "The effort you give to converting leads must match the effort you give to generating them." So when you think about that, you can spend tons of money and time getting leads and getting names and emails, but it doesn't really matter unless you're actually converting it into an appointment and then into a deal or a transaction. Makes sense? Converting a lead to an appointment is a process that can happen quickly, but most of the time it happens pretty slow. Consistently getting every possible appointment from leads you generate isn't complicated, but does require preparation, practice, and purposeful action. This starts at the top of the model of the conversion process with capture. You have to capture the correct information, enough information to be able to contact that person, right? So name, email, phone number, as much as you can. Then you got to move on to connecting which is building a connection with that person, gaining information from them, and then building trust. And finally, it ends with closing for an appointment. Without the appointment, the conversion hasn't happened, right? After lead generation, lead conversion is the most business critical activity that you have to master. It's where the possible business that comes from lead generating activities turns into probable business and then ultimately into profitable business. Converting the lead to an appointment is so much important because it is how you have a chance of earning income, right? Like you're not gonna, like again, you get a million leads, you don't do anything with them. It's not gonna make you any money or income at all. Converting appointments to business is also the key to the economic success, right? Until then, we're gonna focus on how we get those. Does anybody have any questions? Sweet. Okay, so this part into the converting, we're going to talk about the specific steps of converting into leads into appointments. And this model helps structure the success and lay the groundwork. All right. At its simplest, capturing the lead is collecting the minimum amount of valid contact information you have, right? So name, phone number, name, email. This should include names, take it away, email, phone number, most likely those are the things you're going to get when you do lead generating. Do you have any of you actively gone out and tried to capture some leads?
I've done a lot of open houses.
Sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you like do you do like a sign in and then a follow up and stuff?
Yeah, I do a sign in, and I normally a follow up consists of like if they had a question at the open house, and because they're not my listings, they're
Mhm.
other agents' listings. I will ask the listing agent and then email them later with the answer to that question, and then say, "Do you have any questions?" or reach out to me.
Sweet. That's awesome. Anybody do anything else, or has anybody else done that?
I've done a little bit of like friend referrals, and then I did buy through Zillow for a little bit. Didn't love it, but did decently well on it. And then actually at the end of this month, I'm hosting a wine tasting, so I'm definitely excited about learning ways to convert since it's the 50th anniversary of women's right to hold a mortgage. So
Cool.
excited about for that.
Sweet. One of my like one of the things that I do to gain leads, or like one of my marketing strategies, is events. So I love that you're like, oh, I'm having a wine tasting, because that's such a cool thing to do. And events, like I've had some really good success holding events.
Yeah, the KW podcast was like all about the events in one of the recent episodes that I listened to. So
Sweet. That's awesome. Anybody else?
Open houses, hosting an event, and 2 events. Mailing and door knocking.
Sweet. Have you done a mailer or anything yet, or mailed anything out?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's all been like flyers with everything on me.
Nice. I just recently started like an official farm where I'm like mailing out consistent postcards. I've never done it before. I planned on it forever. It's just hard to like make sure you got to stay on track with it.
Yeah.
But my escrow company helped me kind of like get it planned out, which is cool.
Cool.
Sweet. Okay, so when you're capturing leads or names, it's important to know what you're going to say before you start the conversation, right? The conversation frameworks, right? So when, like, here's a good one for when you're talking at open house. You don't really want to ask like yes or no questions, right, to them. You want to get people to open up or answer back to you. So a good one says, if I were to need to contact you, what would that number be, right? Okay, so that's how you get phone number. Okay. If I found exactly what you're looking for, how would I contact you? That's where you can get, those. That's where it's an easy get to be like, oh, okay, look, you're coming from a place of doing something for me, so I will give you, like my information, right? If I found out that information you're wanting, how would I get it to you? Same thing, phone number, email. And then just make sure you like actually capture that and put them in your system. The second step is to connect with people. Okay, connecting is about laying the foundation for a working relationship. Earlier, like we said, there's sometimes you'll get a lead that is like ready to go, right? You're moving on it. It's wind speed. Most of the time that is not the case, and it's going to be something that's going to require nurture and following up with and staying top of mind. What's important during the step of connecting is you have to listen, right? You have to ask good questions, you have to offer solutions, and you have to keep the focus of the conversation on the person you're working with. That is how you build a good connection. If you're just talking about yourself or like saying what things you like, that's not, you want to keep it always on them. The goal of the communication back and forth is to like build trust, right? And then also to determine the urgency. So when you're just having that natural conversation, you can get enough information from them to like know how much you need to prioritize this certain situation, whether it's okay, they're really early on thinking about it, or no, they want to do something in the next couple months. As you communicate and connect, here's some best practices to embed your value proposition in the conversation. So that kind of goes back to that thing earlier where it's like, if I were to find the perfect thing for you, right? How, how can I help, right? To build and have confidence through knowing what you're gonna say. Um, role playing is really hard, but if you have a buddy that you want to, and it doesn't have to be like a super scripted, unnatural kind of role play, it's more just having a conversation and practicing like flipping the narrative, right? And making sure you're putting it back on them. And then to use backward design when you're thinking about communication. So you think about the intended outcome before you even start the communication, right? So use the questions to help them lead towards what you need to do. Oh my gosh. Okay, I have to close this to admit somebody. 1 second. Don't know how. Love that. Okay, we back? You see me? You see the screen? Cool, sweet. Okay, knowing the outcome you want to use from the conversation before you start it, right? So, example. This is like literally just the most current thing I can think of. I'm a part of a board that puts together an event, and we are most likely going to change dates for next year's event. We already kind of know the answer to that, but we also are going out and asking people saying, what date would you like, right? Because we know kind of what the answer is going to be already, but it's literally just kind of backing up our own thing as far as, like I said, we just wanted to, we know the outcome already, but we're because we thought about it, we're making sure we know that before we even start. If that makes sense. Okay. So we have 6 connecting questions, right? Connecting is more than just small talk. The communication has to seek to answer 6 basic questions, okay? Who are they? What do they want or need to do? Where do they want or need to do it? Why do they want or need to do it? When do they want to do it? How do they plan to do it? Okay, so you're gonna go into like a conversation where you're dealing with a lead, thinking already that you need to answer those questions. These questions will help whoever you're speaking to also open up, okay? And then like I said, you don't have to like do this perfectly every time, right? But it's the idea of knowing that you're gonna want to go into it. Examples for waiting to happen. I don't know if you guys have your like follow along book, but this is in there too. To figure out who they are, right? So an example to me, you could say then is like, okay, back up if you would, tell me a little about yourself, because they're gonna dive into what they want, right? And you're like, no, what do you do, right? There's totally been times where like I'm talking to somebody and it's been way too long and I'm already like, oh shoot, I've talked to them and I don't even know what their job is, right? Figure that out. You need to know who they are to be able to know what they want, right? You're looking for as much personal information about them and their situation that they're willing to share, right? So marital status, kids, pets, jobs. These are the details you want to like later put in your database if you're tracking all that too, which you should do. Question 2, what do they want or need to do? Okay, great. Thanks for sharing all your information. Now, if you would, please tell me what you want to do, right? So now you're being like, okay, now you tell me what your plans are. You want to sell your current house and buy a bigger house because you got a big dog. Sweet. Now you're assessing their wants and needs and then their current plans, right? You ask them where you want to know where they want to do it. If you, great, that's a simple one, asking them, where do you want to go? Then that's kind of, you're getting another understanding for their current situation. When it comes to why, another one, would you share with me why do you want to do this, right? You're trying to determine their motivation. I got a new job. I'm going through divorce. Ray, question.
Sorry to go back like a slide or 2. How do you go about events to provide all of these connecting points that we're talking about?
How do I go about events?
Yeah, how do you plan them out? Who are you talking to? How do you communicate? How do you market that?
Oh, okay. You know what? I'm gonna write that down, okay? Because that's like a deeper topic and we will go there. Let me get through this part because that's
Mhm.
something I personally, like I said, we'll make sure and cover that. I will make sure and cover that. And I'm just write that. But yeah, basically, like I do a ton of events. They're, I mean, essentially some of them are just parties, right? But I will talk about that. I wrote that down, so remember to talk about that because I want to get back to that. But that's even like bigger than just jumping in, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. I want to talk about that. Oh yeah, when do they need to do it and what do they want to do, right? So this is you're figuring out their timeline, and then how do they want to do it is now you're figuring out like, do you have a lender? Have you done this before, right? You getting expectations kind of out of the way. And all easy. Your goal in using the lead conversion model is to move immediately from capture to connect and close. However, you'll find a small percentage of leads that won't be ready to convert at all to an appointment, right? To keep mind share, you're going to do something called a touch campaign, okay? Have you talked at all about touch campaigns? A little
I
bit.
think, yeah, we have a little bit.
Okay, cool. I'm sure you have already. Great. Do one, do it. We'll also touch that too if we have time in the end, because there's some really cool built-in systems that we have. Basically, yeah, you want to keep mind share with the touch campaigns, right? So there's I don't like quote me on this. Don't write it down as like fact. A lender told me that lender, and I've stuck with me ever since, that she said that you are forgotten about every 21 days. Okay. So after 21 days, you're out of somebody's mind. So the idea is you just need to make sure that you are staying top of mind. And think of that number like 21 days. Like, have I talked to this person in 21 days? Have they seen from me, heard from me, or anything like that? That is how you stay top of mind. And that's when that person who isn't ready to have an appointment, they'll think of you immediately and say, oh, let's go. Now let's have the appointment, right? Touch campaigns are a great way to do that. And there's tons of different ones you can do. I'm sure you've heard 36 touch. That's the most popular one, which basically means in 1 year, you're gonna touch somebody 36 times. Sounds easier than it is. It's hard, but if you can do it, you'll totally reap benefits. Question. Okay. When you ask for the appointment, and it's your job to ask for the appointment. Okay. So most of the time, somebody like might even, not sorry, a lot of the time, somebody will be on the fence and they're just kind of waiting for you to almost take that step to be like, so do you want to meet? Do you want to talk more about this? Right. Here's a question. When asking for the appointment, which format do you think is the most effective?
In person.
Right. Awesome. The least effective options are in writing, text messages, emails, since you're not really communicating together in real time, right? So you can't really immediately respond or like back and forth the way you can when you're talking to somebody in real time. Phone calls and in person are going to have the best effect to your conversion, right?
This may just be a me thing, but I really feel unprofessional, like meeting at someone's house instead of an office.
Come to the office. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have it, utilize it.
Yeah.
I, especially for like a buyer consult, meet in the office. It's totally a great way. It's so much better than, I mean, if you can only meet at the house, great. Even for a listing appointment, if you can meet in the office, or if you go out, do a listing appointment, kind of do a rundown, look at the place, and then meet at the office to discuss kind of further contracts and paperwork. And it totally is a professional setting, which is awesome. And like I said, where all we work, we have an office somewhere nearby. If you're a Portland person doing a deal in Cottage Grove and you want to meet in Eugene, just stop by the Eugene office. The same thing from if you're in Eugene, Salem, or Portland. It's great. Another quote from Gary Keller. We'll read it. In the end, if they can meet and have a good enough reason to meet, they will meet, right? If they don't, then they won't. And that's okay, because you really don't care what the answer is. Their answer is what their answer ultimately is, because you're not getting people to do anything they don't want to do, right? You're just going to ask and respond until they agree that meeting with you makes sense or it doesn't. Either way, you both win. Does that make sense? It's kind of a lot. It's wordy. Basically, what you're saying is like, again, this is like that stay top of mind, right? You don't really care what their answer ultimately is because you're not getting people to do anything they want to. If they don't want to meet, they're not going to. But eventually, if they do, great, they will. You both win. Okay, so we have the model. We got the steps and the actions to convert them into an appointment, right? Here we're really quickly, we're going to dig deeper into conversion rate. And if you are a person who tracks conversion rate, this is kind of how we'll get that going, right? So conversion rate refers to the percentage of leads you ask for an appointment to those that agree to the appointment, okay? So example, you may ask 10 leads for an appointment, succeed in getting 8 appointments, there's 80% conversion rate, okay? Your ultimate goal is to increase your skills so you can convert at the highest percentage possible. The higher the percentage, the more leads have converted to appointments, okay? If you're converting at a low percentage, this should tell you that you have a lead conversion challenge, because the challenge is not the number of leads generated, but it's your ability to get them to an appointment, right? You can have 1,000 people in your contacts, 0 appointments. You're not doing it, right? You have bad conversion rate. Here's ways to improve your conversion rate. Okay, well, also really quick, as far as conversion rate, factor in your business, okay? So if you're fully a referral business and you're only doing it with family and friends and starting that way, your conversion rate ideally will be higher, right? Versus if you're like putting an ad on Facebook and getting Facebook leads, because factor in that, like not every Facebook lead, if you have 10 leads, it's going to be way lower conversion rate than like a personal face or a family or friend, right? But here's how to improve that, right? So once you understand what your conversion rate is, you can move from EP, which was the what oh god, what's it called? The Keller Williams 6 personal perspectives. Anyway, so time blocking sucks. I'm sorry. I hate it. I hate it so much. My previous career, I had to time block for like 20 people, 8 hours a day, and it was insane. But it's totally true. Put it in your calendar and do it. If it's not in your calendar, you're not going to do it. If you time block, you find that chunk of time in your day where you can put to it and be like, all right, I'm doing lead work. This is my 10 a.m. to noon project, right? And every time you just block that time out, make sure you're doing it right. Using conversions or conversations and systems, right? So practicing the conversations, asking for the close. If you have practice your buyer and seller presentation, and like it's not as formal as that, right? But it's just knowing what you're speaking to, right? So if you don't have a buyer presentation book, I suggest making one at some point. What it is it's kind of just a little ad for you, but it's something you can take to the appointment and give away and be like, here's my book of, here's all the steps. Here's a glossary, here's how to get a hold of me, right? Here's like what we do. I have one of those. If you don't have one, they're easy to make, and I can send you an example and you can get them in command. Conversations, right? Conversations are a powerful tool that can help you say what you intend to say the most powerful, impactful way, right? So sending emails all day, right? Love that. But if you can actually get in front of somebody or talk to them and ask for the appointment, make a phone call, like reach out, it's going to be way more effective than sending 20 texts or sending generic emails. That being said, I send tons of emails.
Nick?
Yeah.
Can you email me that book when you get a chance to buy your presentation book?
Yep. So I will give you mine, and if you want anybody else, you can have it too. I copied Mara's, who copied Linda Reed, who copied Charity Crosby. So it's like a living document with just different, right? And it just kind of evolves every time you make one. So I'll send you mine and you'll be like, oh, cool. And then you just kind of change the design of mine. And then in command, in designs, there's other pages that you can add to. And you can get it like bound. Here's one of mine that is just stapled. Oh, so cute. And it's like literally like it's just a couple pages. Says like what we do, some testimonials in there, the process.
Cool. Thank you.
$40
You-
if you yeah, and you can like if you want, you can if it's like if you want to like impress, you can like take it to Office Depot. It's like $4 and they'll like bind it together. And you can give that away and be like, here's this for you. Love
Yeah, I
you.
was already thinking about hitting up Staples.
Yep.
Do you need my email or can I write yours down?
What I'll do, I will get, I mean, yeah, what you could do is I'm gonna put my email in the end of it. I just can't when this presentation it doesn't let
No
me.
worries.
And then we can exchange, and then I will also, if just for fun, if everybody wants it, I can get the attendance roster and just send it out to all you guys so you can have one.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Okay. So systems and conversations, right? Systems to keep you top of mind and conversations to actually move it forward, right? Step 3, connecting with your whole database. Okay, this is the tricky part. So if you put in your data, if you're using command, I keep saying command, I don't know how fresh we all are and if we know what command is as much. Command is what I use for my CRM, my client relations management software. There's tons out there. Command is free because I mean we already paid for it being KW, so I utilize that. Point is you want to connect with your whole database, right? So you don't neglect any part of your database. You reconnect with each person, and when you do, you also ask for referrals. Okay, conversation activities are not just for leads; they're also for your sphere of influence to stay top of mind, and for getting more contacts. Okay, so when you ask for a referral, somebody might say, "Oh yeah, my sister." Send her an email, give her a call, and then you kind of get a contact from there. When you make a phone call and when you reach out to each person, try to make it something where you're like coming from care. Okay, hold on, sorry, somebody else got to admit to the room. Figure out how to do it here. Okay, we're back. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, you want to come from care, curiosity, and contribution, right? You don't want to just call to be like, do you have any leads for me? You want to call to get back into the relationship with past clients, right? So how are you doing? How's your family? How's your job? What have you been doing for fun? You want to build that connection that way, right? So you want to, like I said, come from care, curiosity, and contribution. What can I do to help? And then know who to prioritize, okay? So not every lead is the same. Getting 10 internet leads from a Facebook ad versus your aunt calling you saying, I want to buy a house next month. Prioritize which leads you're going to go for, right? Know who to prioritize. When you, I think a session or 2 from now is lead follow-up. That's like right there. That's the part where you need to prioritize. Like, what kind of follow do I want to do with this person, right? The lead conversion model. Every lead has the potential to turn into a business. And as you have already heard, there's no bad leads, right? Every lead could be something. With the model, we know that we have to capture the appropriate information so you can connect with them. We need to connect with them to assess their needs to establish a relationship. We need to then cultivate that relationship. And then we need to close by asking for the appointment, okay? You're in control of the ask. So you need to know, like I said, there's a lot of people that you will talk to that are totally on the fence and they just need you to be like, do you want to learn more? Do you want to have an appointment and talk about it? Questions? Great. Here, these are some things you need to think about. What ideas or mindsets are new to you, right? Do you feel differently about anything? Was it to take some of the like the conversion model and think about that? Remember that one? Make it meaningful. And then also what tools and systems will you use? Like, right? Like I said, I use command. We'll go into that a little bit so you can kind of see more of it. And that's the tool that I basically use. Okay. Okay, so this is where this is like I'm assuming you've already seen this, right? So here's your tracker. We're not gonna do this. I'm not gonna make us all go through like role play right now and write handwritten notes, but your success system, right? How many conversations you have? 10 conversations, add 10 contacts, and write 10 handwritten notes. Have any of you done any handwritten notes things yet? Yeah.
I print them
It's-
off and then sign them by hand. My handwriting
yeah.
is illegible.
Oh my God. Yeah. I it's a good thing to get in the habit of. In that drawer behind me there, those bottom two drawers are all just cards. Oh look, wait. Here's a whole more thing of cards. Here's one was buy these. What is this one? Happy birthday cards. I got a whole another one. Says happy anniversary. There's tons of reasons to write a card out, for your business card in there and just be like, just thinking about you, right? Woo. As always, make sure and go against the TCPA. Make sure you're not calling people you're not supposed to. Update your call list. Track that.
Is there an easy way to do like a comparison?
For the TCPA,
Hmm.
no. It kind of sucks. Because if the easiest way is when you log into it, you can do like 10 numbers at a time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I'm assuming that because it's more of a thing and it's becoming more of a thing, that it will get easier eventually. Because the other thing that you can do is like download this huge massive spreadsheet, and then like by area code, and then you can like search through that spreadsheet by doing like Command F or Control F. But like, it's the easiest way to do it just online. Madeline in the Eugene office, Tammy Sue, they are like pros at it, so they might have some better way or know of a better way to do it as well. Or if there is, check your like emails from KW, because as soon as there is, you'll hear about it, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, we're not gonna do role play. This is for you to go out and follow up after we're done with this, right? And then I want to hear some successes. Okay. What I want to do now is jump into this. So using command, right? And then, oops, using command, and then I will set you guys free. Does anybody have any questions so far? Excellent. I'm gonna open this up. If I can figure out how to do it. Okay. Do all of you have the workbook, or at least the PDF of the workbook?
No, I don't have the workbook.
Ooh, okay, so this was a good one. So there's a huge workbook, right? It's like a giant binder. There's like the guide of the stuff that, and then there's like the stuff that you can actually work through. This one, I will have Elson or Mara email out to you, because this is a good one, because it actually has like some questions you can ask people. Those 6 connecting questions to have you open up. Sample questions you would want to ask to buyers, sample questions you would ask to sellers, instead of that are not yes no answers, they're like open up questions. Example, what are you looking for in a dream home, right? What happens if you can't find a house to buy? What do you have to do? Did you sense the urgency? Have you seen any houses you like? Which ones are they? Show me. What areas are you interested in? What's prompting your move? How long have you been searching? How long have you been looking? What's the time frame you're in? Have you talked to another agent about selling a house, right? Are you pre-approved with a lender? Have you talked to a lender yet? Do you have a price range in mind? Okay, so those are all questions that are not yes or no's to get people to open it for you, okay? Sellers, what's the address of your home? That way you, great start to know where they live, and then give them a CMA, market analysis. What's prompting you to move? What's your time frame to move? Are you working with an agent? Are you interviewing other agents? How much do you think your home is worth? gonna give them an idea of what they think their house is worth. Yeah, so like I said, practice those. That's the big thing you need to practice, right? So it's like the role play part is great, but like practicing having the questions, less the answers, is also super important. If that makes sense, right? You can always get the answers, and a lot of time when you're this early on, you're not like really talking so much about like the nitty-gritty and the money and all that stuff, right? You're more like getting a feel for them and building the connection, right? So it's actually hard to do. Like people want to talk, so it's almost harder to ask the questions than just have a regular back and forth dialogue, right? Or have them ask you questions and start answering them, flipping it on them, and making sure you ask them questions to get them to open up. Okay, so let's talk about, one second, I'm gonna move this over.
Nick, what do you do when you just catch the vibe that someone does not care about your questions? They don't want to talk to you. Do you just let them go? Like an open house, or like do you just check in less type deal?
Yeah. So when you're just touching base, right? So open houses is different. So open
Yeah.
houses, because they're there for a reason, or not.
Mhm.
It could be the neighbor, but they're there for a reason. They might already have an agent too that they're working with, right? So you need to clear that up early.
Mhm.
When you're asking the questions, you will definitely like feel a vibe of like
Mhm.
where they're at. When you're coming from like caring, right? When you're making an outreach call to somebody that's just in a lead in your sphere, it's kind of different, because you're gonna first start out and be like, hi, how are you doing, right? And you're gonna kind of like work your way into there. If you end up having a whole conversation and not talking about real estate at all, and then at the very end just being like, oh my gosh, yeah, totally, by the way, if you know anybody who wants to buy or seller has any questions, let me know. Do you know anybody? Right? That's totally not a weird ask. There's times at open houses though where you're like, you just can't get anything out of them, and
Yeah.
that's just gonna happen. It is.
Okay.
And then there's other times where you're like, I've not been able to break away from this person because they're talking my ear off, but it's all good stuff, and we're actually going somewhere with it, right?
Mhm.
And a lot of that, yeah, it's just vibe, feeling it out, pretty much.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. But like when you're reaching out like on the phone and stuff like that, it's different because you're like coming from a place of caring, right? So you're not going to mention it first. And like I said, even if it's the last thing that gets brought up, it's not something that nobody's gonna be mad at you for asking, right? And they're if worst they're gonna say is, no, I can't think of anybody. But if I do, I'll let you know. And you're like, great, let me know. Okay. I'm trying to see like how I want to dive into this. Okay, so to answer Ray, your question, right? Yes, events. I love an event. I do multiple events. How depending on, I've done, okay, so I do like ones that are more like, they're all kind of like with a purpose of like getting your name out there, getting people to remember you, getting you to think of you, right? There's other ones that are like more client based versus more friend based. So an example of one that I do that I don't know if we're going to be able to do that going forward is I buy a box at an M's game. Okay. So you can get them for a deal. You used to. And it's 22 people and food. And you pay for it. You invite 22 people, right? I literally invite half friends and then half clients. And then you're like mingling friends and clients. I try to let people bring somebody. So like, you got to plan it out too. And it's you reaching out right there. For one thing, to be like, do you want to come to this event? Do you have anybody else that wants to come? Following up on that. That's a big one, because I'm not joking. I did that event this year and somebody brought their girlfriend, and I'm not joking. A month later, their house was pending the sale and we were looking for a new house to buy. And it was just, he brought her, and he was an old client that I was like, oh, let's hang out. and he brought his girlfriend, and literally she's like, oh, I'm looking to buy a house and sell mine. And it totally, and like that, so it was kind of one of those moments too, because sometimes you'll be like doing these and you'll be like, oh man, is it worth it? I don't know, is this happening? And then that happens and you're like, cool, sweet, that was great. All that work.
Nice.
I've also we also just have like a summer party, like a summer barbecue. That one I kind of like plan it out, and I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna invite a bunch of friends, and that'll be a client one too. And you know, a lot of the time the trick to planning an event is like the get of like getting people to come. Like, why do people want to come? Because in 4 weeks, going to a party sounds great, but Friday at 4 p.m. when you're supposed to be there in 2 hours, you're like, it's really easy to not want to go to an event or a party. So like coming up with a get, right? So like the M's game one, yes, it cost me money, but there's food and it's a free like baseball game, right? So
Yeah.
picking and choosing the people who want to go to that, there's your get. We did a summer party, and I hired my neighbor who was in like a real band, and I hired him to just play guitar. And like he's like a guy who like goes to vineyards, right? So he's my neighbor, so he was super cheap. And I literally I made a little invite on Canva and texted everybody and said, oh, music also. And made a kind of a big deal, like, oh yeah, we're gonna have some live music. And my neighbor like killed it. He was just playing guitar for like 4 hours straight in the background, and it was totally a highlight and a get. And it was a killer barbecue that I had last year.
Cool.
I was gonna do that again this year, but he was out of town. And then also with events. So then there's like a part 2 to events. So there's like your like small personal client appreciation event, right? There's also office events. So each office probably once or twice quarterly, I think, is like what we try to shoot for, tries to have an office-based client appreciation event. So for example, the one that we just did in Eugene was we had a e-cycling event, right? So the office paid junk luggers to come, and then we had them out in the parking lot from like 3 to 6. And it was like, hey, tell your clients that they can bring any computers, busted up cell phones, this and that. And it was like, I think $20 to buy into it. That's totally a client appreciation event right there. That's an easy one. That's just an office event. So usually, like I said, those will happen at least twice a year, hopefully 4 times. And then there's like a different side to the event. So one of the things that I also do is I volunteer a lot. And it just so happens that the boards that I volunteer on or am part of throw a large event as well. It is not a coincidence that the boards that I'm on are close to my heart, but I'm also the only realtor on the board. So for like one of the boards I'm on, we throw a big volunteer appreciation like gala, that, like, you know, the organization pays for, right? It costs us $50,000 a year. I don't really even plan any of it. There's committees that do that, but I'm kind of still attached to it because then I get to reach out to people to say, hey, this nonprofit that I'm part of is having this huge volunteer, donation event, right? You should come, welcome. That's kind of another way how I like do events that I don't even really throw, but they're like, I do, right? If that makes sense. So that's like, as far as events, kind of how I do that. And that's where I kind of come from.
Right.
Terry DeBose in our office also loves doing events. Oh, cool. Thanks, Alexandra. We got a link of the 12 weeks of listings in the talk. They do events. Okay, so now we're gonna switch topics. Do we have any other questions, really? Anything? Did I miss anything? Okay. I'm gonna show you a little bit about Command and Smart Plans, because this is what we're all here for, okay? This is how we're gonna help follow up all of our leads. And this is gonna help you stay top of mind. You still have to go out and make phone calls and reach people, but this is gonna help you stay top of mind. And you'll already have it because you're a KW member. It's called Smart Plans. So let me go in here and share my screen. And I promise you, this will be totally worth it. And I'll even send you home with a couple so you can just have one. Okay. Does everybody see my browser, my Google Chrome? And can you like actually see it, or is it like teeny
Yes.
tiny?
It's a little
Okay.
small.
Okay.
Yeah, if you could zoom in a little bit, that'd be cool.
Let's. Better?
More.
Ugh. Okay, here, 1 second. Let's do this. This. Does that look like anything?
Yep.
That's better.
Okay. So
Hey,
ooh, on my
Nick,
side, it's like, yeah. Somebody have a question?
yeah. I'm gonna text you on the chat box, but I have a meeting to get to.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
Taking off.
Thank you for coming. If you want, yeah, send me your information, and then I will give you the link to some of these smart plans, which you'll totally love. Okay, so where are we at right here? This is the first thing that you see when you log into Command, right? Are you familiar with this at least a little bit? Sweet. This is the sidebar right here. This is where you put all of your contacts. Where starting a smart plan, you have your tasks, right? This will make it happen automatically. This is where you do your smart plans. And then at the very bottom, 2 from the bottom, is the design tab. This is where you can make parts of your smart plan, okay? What a smart plan is it is a automated tool. It's a touch campaign, okay? And it's just an automated tool for a way to stay top of mind. There's some really easy smart plans, and those are some of my favorites. And those are just holiday smart plans, okay? That's just you emailing and texting every person in your database for that holiday. There's also educational smart plans, which is a really good one that I'm gonna say I recommend all of you to get, which is like a buyer education smart plan. Okay. If you have a lead that's like wanting to move on it and they're a buyer, you can put them on the smart plan and they're gonna like fully like it gives them too much information, but it's great because it's just like I said, you're staying top of mind and you're totally helping out. Let me an open house follow-up smart plan. So Sophie, I know you said that you were doing open houses. If you a great thing to do is put any of those people you met that are not currently working with another agent on an open house follow-up plan. Here's an example of one. This is a good one. So here's, okay, so sorry. When you click on the smart plan tab, it's going to show you your smart plans or the library. We'll dive into that. The library is where you can get smart plans that are already made. I recommend going through the library and digging through. A bunch of these featured ones here are made by Keller Williams, so you know they're good to go. And they have some really good ones like a quarterly call plan, right? All it does is just reminds you every quarter to call somebody. The one that I was going to show for the open house, whoops. So you go into my smart plans, which are the ones that are actually mine. I have a open house follow-up one. So what that does, I have it set up. So when you're logged into Command, it uses your profile. So I have my KW email address set up in there. And then I also have something called Twilio. Twilio is like an automatic texting app. It's $3 a month. And I get like 300 texts, which is plenty for me. So example, what this one is. So day after the smart plan, okay. You put your contact in Command and you put them on your open house follow smart plan. Right then, it's going to immediately send them a text that says, hey, their first name, thanks for coming by. What'd you think of the open house? The next day, and this is again, like if they're not replying to you, right? Or you can like kind of jump back in. The next day, tomorrow, it's going to tell you in your command, it's going to create a task that says, send an email to that person. And it's going to put their name in there where it says contact first name, contact last name. Then it's going to wait 2 days. And on day 4, it's going to tell you in your tasks to make a call, to call that person. Asking about the open house. How's it going? Do they have any questions? And it's going to have you wait 3 days. And then it's going to send, either you can have it remind you to send this text, which you can just copy and paste, or you can have Twilio automatically send it. Hi, first name. I have a few open houses coming up that I think you'd be interested in. Would you like me to send you a list? Right? It's asking for you're coming from a place of contribution. Wait 4 more days. Tells you in your task to make a call to that person. Wait 3 days. So now we're at day 14, 2 weeks after we met them. And this is again, if they haven't reached back to you, right? Or if it's like really, it's like a cold lead, like they're not really giving you a lot. Here's you sending a text saying, how are you doing? Just wanted to check in, see if you're available. Oh, this one says I had a showing appointment canceled, so I have an opening in my schedule. I literally, when I wrote that one, it was funny because that is what I did all that and it fully happened. I remember that. And then this one, wait 4 days, it sends them an email, or you could send an email, like what you could just current open houses right for the weekend. And then this one specifically after 3 days on day 21, if we're not getting anywhere, I have them, it automatically adds this contact to another smart plan that is called my long-term nurture plan, which is I think every month they just get an email like, hi, how's it going? That is a great one. And so, and you see there, like, you can see how this is like super handy because like if you go in here, and I'm gonna go close this. When I said that it's to ask you to write an email and stuff, here's your tasks, right? So I on purpose didn't do some of mine because I knew I had this coming up. And they stay on there unless you like do them. So based off of my smart plans that I have, you can see right here, and I'm behind on it, the due date was 9/25 to send a gift to Lauren Edwards. That is because they are part of the home anniversary plan. So it was their home anniversary and the plan automatically timed it out to when I should send a card or a gift, make a phone call, an internet post, and an email. And then this one right here, Greg, is part of my birthday plan. The birthday plan is everybody should be on that you have their birthday. It's an automatic text or a text from you and an email that says happy birthday, right? Nobody's gonna be mad about that. They love it. Stay top of mind. If you put them on a birthday plan, there's a Keller Williams one. It'll also tell you when to send them a birthday card. And it factors in like, assuming that there's gonna be like a 4-day delay before they get it. So it'll tell you, send it, you know, this guy's birthday, I think was on the 4th and it said on 9/29 to send it. Oh, this was my test right here for a New Year's plan that I made, which goes to the other thing I was saying about some of the easiest smart plans are holidays. You have to make each smart plan the same because, well, I'll show you, like, it's not going to trigger on a holiday day. You have to have each holiday specific. So like example, let's see, what's one that I just made? Okay, cool. I made a Thanksgiving one for this year. Super easy, right? It's called Thanksgiving. It's a 1-step plan. So they're going to get an email from me that looks like this. Happy Thanksgiving. I made this just in Designs. It's the tab down on the left-hand side. Took this image from there. All these parts, I'm pointing at my screen, all these parts right here that are broken and just say agent first name, last name, those are all automatically populated from your command profile. So if you go in here to hit preview, let me see here, how do I? Okay, when you're actually designing it, you can hit preview and it'll put all of your stuff in there. So make sure your command profile is right. And then it's going to send them an automatic text too. Happy Thanksgiving, Day of Gratitude. Because I use Twilio, which is like an automatic texter, it doesn't come from my cell phone number. It comes from this other random Eugene phone number that is always the same. So I always sign the bottom of those texts and say my name, just because one of my early on smart plans, I sent my really good friend a text and it just said happy birthday. And she was like, oh my God, this weird number just texted me happy birthday. And I was like, oh, that was me. That was my automatic plan. But yeah, these are great. So once you have like this plan down, for example, right here, and a lot of these plans, just so you know, are also in the library. We can search them and you can totally steal those from me. And you'll just go through and edit this right here. And you can you can have it. Save the time that I spent making this one. And then what you do, so right here, you're in my smart plans. I got my smart plans, Thanksgiving. when I made it, how long it is, how many touches. Over here, there's an add contact. And what I would do, which I haven't done yet, is you're gonna hit choose who you want. But I'm gonna hit select all. A while ago, I just uploaded my entire iPhone contact list to Command. So I have stuff in there that's like the radio that was in Portland when I lived there 10 years ago, and also a Hollywood video that I worked at that's closed. Whatever, it's fine. So I put every single one in there or whoever, and then I click add to smart plan. It'll tell me the errors that I have. So like this one is missing a phone number, this one's missing an email. I can either take them out, or if it's one or the other, I can still say add to plan anyway, right? So I'm gonna say add to plan anyway. Now it's gonna say, okay, when do you want this plan to start? This is where the holiday specific ones, this is where you make that part. So pull open my phone, which is connected to the computer. I can't see my calendar. What day is Thanksgiving? November 28th. That's late, right? Okay, so then I'd say start all on a specific date. October, November 28th. And then, sorry for this part. And then you're going to say you've checked all of these against the do not call list. And then you're going to hit confirm. And now it says down here, my request to start my start plan will start. And once this updates, basically that's that. Now, every single person in my contacts, whether it's an email or text, on the morning of Thanksgiving, between 8 a.m., usually around 8 a.m. is when you schedule those, they're all going to get a text and email from me that says Happy Thanksgiving. Super easy. I have tons of them. So daylight savings ends, spring forward, Happy 4th of July, Juneteenth, Valentine's Day, Memorial Day, right? Another smart plan that I mentioned to you too is the buyer education plan. This one I took from a realtor in New York, and then I just edited it for myself. And so feel free to steal this one. This is a great one, and this is for if you have a first-time home buyer. I put this on my best friend when he bought his house with his wife, and I'm not kidding you. He totally I told him he was gonna be on. I was like, I'm gonna put you on this little plan, so you're gonna get a bunch of information. And he fully replied to the email because he thought that I wrote it to him that day. And I was like, great, that's perfect. That's what you want to know, right? And he actually was reading these emails. These are great. It's one a day, and it's just a huge, super basic, where to start when purchasing a home. Hey, you, here's what we're gonna do. Talk about credit, income. We'll talk more tomorrow. Day 2, when am I ready to start buying homes? Nice email. Slow down, partner. You got to get pre-approved. Let's talk about this. What do you want? Day 3, another email, talks about inspections. Another email, what are closing costs? And again, it's a great way to be all right, you're ready to go. You got a buyer, you're ready to go. I'm gonna blow your mind with all this information, but it's gonna be tons of talking points, and you're gonna coach that person so that they know exactly what they're doing too. One of my favorites. Love that smart plan. If you go and click on the smart plan tab, and then you go to the library right here, the featured plans are ones that have a lot of downloads, right? There's some of them really easy. Here's a monthly call plan. Sometimes it's just all this is to remind you to call any contacts you assign to it every 30 days. Puts it in your tasks. The Keller Williams ones are great. If you go right here into Keller Williams, this is the birthday one. This is the only birthday one that is like this. It's amazing. You can look at it's been downloaded 161,000 times. And this is the one where it tells you when to send a birthday card, tells you when to call them, tells you when to make a social post. It texts them happy birthday. It's really clever and smart. And then there's top rated ones that other people make as well. These are all crowdsourced essentially, right? And then there's new ones too. So you can usually find something new and current for that time. If anybody wants to take any of mine, if you go in there and search TWH, a bunch of mine are in there. And I made a bunch over the last couple weeks that I haven't put in the store, and I will put those in there and feel free to take them. Like I said, I updated my Thanksgiving one to be 2024. I made a New Year's one. boop, boop, boop. And how you do that also. Oh, I also made this one too. So I have this My Agent Referrals one. That's a good one because all of us, over the course of being in this career, you're going to meet like a million other brokers all over the country. I have one that I put other brokers in so that it reminds me to touch base with them to be like, don't forget about me if you have anybody moving to Oregon. And that's a super easy one, right? That's just a text. And that's, I have a, I know it works because I got a person from San Francisco that I met at a convention, and then they totally referred to me. They made 25%, easy money for them, and I had a quick and easy deal. Yeah, most, like I said, most of the ones I have in there are holidays, but I will add a bunch of the new ones that I have in there as well. The open house follow-up one I have in there. When you go, if you want to take one, you click view the steps, right? That'll show you kind of a breakdown. You click add to smart plan. It'll add it to your library. It has to be unique. I'm going to call it 2 because I don't want to mess with my other one. You hit download. Oh, it has to be unique. Okay, well, then if it's done, you go into your smart plans. It'll be up there at the very top, since mine's an older one. I'll go to mine over here. This is actually the first one I ever made. And then this is what it looks like on yours. It's going to say, whatever you called it. And I try to make them kind of easy, buyer education. You go right here to edit. And that's how you kind of personalize it for yourself. So like you wouldn't want to put somebody on this because the signature says my name and my phone number. So I would go in there, edit, put your phone number, put your name, zhuzh it up however you want, right? Same with I think, let's see, what is my Thanksgiving one? Yeah, send email. So my email, I have it say warm wishes, Nick. Total truth here. I fully had ChatGPT write this, and I said, make it short and cute. And it literally was like, I'll carve out the time for your referrals. Get it like a turkey. So yeah, just go in there, edit those. Smart plans are super great. I'm a big follower of them. The reason I have 1 million in here too is because every once in a while I'll just dive into the library and add new ones to my list, and then sometimes I get a little sloppy, but get rid of them or change them to what you want. So like oh yeah, I kind of wanted to, okay, so one that I was working on, that I'm working on right now, you can see these, my introduction. I went into the library and searched like, cold internet lead, right? And it was one that I figured if I could make a smart plan where if somebody like went to my website and put their info in automatically, it pops up in my command. And I'm trying to make a smart plan that as soon as that happens, it just sends them an email that says, hi, da-da-da, and it's like an introduction email, right? Easy. And then I can call to them personally also, but this is just like a really quick, like gets right back to them. When you make your smart plans, you can make them super basic, just text, or you can make them pretty. That is all done over here on the left-hand side in designs. And that's where you can actually make the email. So like my daylight savings time one is right here. It's literally just an email template. And like I said, all these broken parts, these will fill in automatically from my profile. The part that says dear contact first name, that fills in the person's name automatically. Yeah, see, look, I'll hit preview. Now this will actually work, I think. Yeah, so look, this is what it actually looks like when they get it. It's got the logo, it's got my picture. This is literally just an image that I made in Canva, but it's in Command. You could just do it in Command because it's free and it's basically Canva. And then here's the text I added. All this gets automatically filled in. It puts the legal stuff at the bottom. It's great. It's also, I can't remember what it's called, Hyper something, I think, but it is formatted so that if you're looking at it on a screen or an iPad or a phone, it like shifts it down and makes it all the right size. The reply to is your KW email or whatever email you set it up as. So it'll come from whatever, like a CRM, but the reply to is automatically your email address. And And yeah, this is where I make all my designs. For some of you that want to do a buyer packet, there is a buyer packet in here that you can work off of. You go to create design. This is how it pops up. And somewhere in here, there's a buyer packet, buyer presentation. There's 5 different kind. They're all the same. It's just different types. And then you can literally make your entire buyer's presentation in
Do you
this.
find that this is like really not user friendly? Like I've had to export them out of this and put them into Canva because it's so not
Uh-huh.
user
Okay.
friendly.
Oh, okay. Chrome. Use Chrome. I'm
Oh
a
yeah.
Mac person, and the only reason I have Chrome is literally for command. Okay. Yes, it's a little clunky, especially when you're doing like the big ones. So if you're doing, for me, if you're doing the like a buyer's presentation, I would probably like do it in Pages or Word because
Okay.
doing like 20 pages in Canva or in Command is like kind of tricky. But you can just save the template. Yeah, it's a little clunky. You don't have to use this designs. You can fully make something on Canva and then just upload it into yours. I've kind of embraced command designs because it's like made for me, right? It's made
Okay.
for a KW agent. So there's tons of stuff in there that's like kind of ready to go. Like literally here, this is an image that I've made, and all it is like a story shaped thing that automatically gets posted to Facebook stories on 4th of July, right? And it was like so easy to make because it's already there. So I use that for a lot of stuff. But yeah, it's not the most user friendly and it can kind of be a little clunky sometimes. But it's free and you already have it. Or it's free, you pay for it. But
Yeah.
it works really well.
Tax deduction on Canva.
Yeah. It's in your office fees.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I had Pro Canva and then I canceled it. So now I've switched basically over to Command. I have Adobe something too. Through my nonprofit, I'm part of a nonprofit and I get a crazy deal on the Adobe suite. Just so you know, if you have a nonprofit email address, Adobe gives you a killer deal. So I've been using Photoshop. What is it? I've been using
Lightroom probably.
Oh, it's weird. It's new. It's something Express. It's like web-based. Yeah. It's man, I can't remember. It's like Adobe Premiere Express. It's really cool. Yeah, look up Adobe Express. It's new. It's really cool because it's like there's a lot of AI stuff in it, and you can literally be like, make me a flyer for this thing, and it just will, and then you kind of just edit it yourself. And I don't know how much money it costs, but like I said, I got it through my discount for my nonprofit, and it was I think $30 a month for the entire suite. So I have all Photoshop, Lightroom, all that for $30 a month now instead of like 100. It's cool. Does anybody have any other questions? I hope I was able to like kind of give you some ideas and things that you can kind of work off of here. You'll hear a lot of people say this, it's not going to happen on its own. You have to do it. A lot of it's just time. With the smart plans though, like truly like go in there and make some because yes, it takes time to start it up, right? But then it's just a rinse and repeat and it's so easy and then it's a time saver. Feel free to take as many of mine that you find on there. I will upload, I think I pretty much have most of mine on there and I'll upload all the new ones that I made recently. So you can feel free to steal those, swap them around. Just change the words out however you want. I will send you a copy of my buyer's packet and I would say go into designs and make one of your own. There's also a listing packet. A lot of the listing packet templates that you'll come across are like very house specific. So that's great and all, but like I kind of took the time to go in there and make mine and kind of like made it more generic. So if I'm just going to a generic listing appointment, it doesn't have anything to do with them specifically in that booklet because that takes a long time. And then wait, I had one more note here. What was I going to do? Oh yeah, I'm going to send you my buyer's packet. Oh, and I will get you the workbook for this session because it has just some good questions to ask buyers and sellers. I'm gonna do this. How do I send a group message to everybody here? My name is Nick West. My email is nickwest@kw.com. My phone number is 541-525-0585. That's my info. I've been with Keller Williams for over 4 years now. And one of the reasons I'm still around is because of the collaborative nature of our business. We are all in competition with each other, but the coolest part about KW is if you have a question, somebody will help you and they'll help you answer it. And like I said, my buyer's packet is Mara's, who is Linda's, who's his charities, who she probably took it from somebody else 10 years ago. And so it's funny because if you look at Charity Crosby's buyer's packet and mine, you can see the similarities and just fonts that have changed over the years. That's pretty much all I have today. Like I said, smart plans. Oh, also, if you want to take like a chunk of time and do like a one-on-one and go over some smart plans and just I can deep dive into smart plans with you, let me know. I'm more than happy. You can tell I started when Command was like a baby and it was terrible. And I got to watch the evolution of it. And yes, it is still clunky, but it's the best it's ever been and it works the best. So I'm a smart plans believer. 2 years ago, it was different. But yeah, if you want to deep dive on smart plans, I'm more than happy and I can help you set one up and make sure the logistics are all known there. Use your task list in Command. Make a smart plan. Use the task list. When you check off the boxes saying you did it, make notes. It'll put it in their profile. So make notes of the conversation you had. And then when you talk to them in 2 months, you can reference back. How was the dog, right? Yeah. Does anybody have any questions? Well, I appreciate you all sitting through it and dealing with me. And like I said, feel free to reach out if you do have any questions. I'm here to help. And yeah, have you guys go follow up with some leads now. All right, everybody, have a good one. Bye.